Dear students, in this module, we would be talking about the parametric tests. Parametric tests are those type of tests which take into account the population parameter. So we take certain assumption about the parameter and we will have to test it using the sampled information. Parametric tests that require certain assumptions. For example, the variable on which you are applying the parametric test that has to be quantitative in nature. For example, if we talk about height, if we talk about weight variable, or if we talk about age variable, they are quantitative in nature. Similarly, if we talk about the type of variable further, the data has to be continuous. So as you can see that age variable, if you just take it into account, it is continuous in nature. And as far as the scale of measurement is concerned, the data, the quantitative variable you are going to take up, they must be measured on the ratio or interval scale of measurement. Now students, whenever we talk about parameters, then they usually follow a certain specific distribution. So in order to apply the parametric test, your variables should have certain distribution. Now students, we would be discussing various kind of parametric tests that are available in statistics. So there are various objectives for which we apply those type of tests. For example, if we talk about a single population and we need to test the population mean, any assumption or any statement about population mean, so that will be tested through t-test for a single mean. Now, if we would have two populations and we would have to make a comparison between the means of the two populations, that for example, whether the means of the two populations are same or they are not same. So for that purpose even, we would have to test this particular statement using t-test. So t-test for two samples is of two types. One are known as independent sample t-test and other are known as paired sample t-test. So independent sample is usually applied onto those type of samples for which, for example, the data is being taken independently. Let us suppose if we are talking about IQ level for the males and IQ level for the females, so they would be independently observed. So for that type of data, we would be talking about the comparison of the two IQ levels gender-wise using t-test for independent samples. Similarly, we talk about t-test for paired sample where the number of individuals are the same, but we are going to record the data according to various times. For example, if we are supposed to test that whether any particular type of diet is useful for reduction of the weights, then we would be taking the weights before following the diet plan and after following the diet plan. And afterwards, we would have to check the variables that whether their means are same or they are not same using the t-test for paired sample. Similarly, there is another phenomenon of the population which is known as the proportion. Proportion is just a part of the population if it is being taken from the population, and if it is being taken from the sample, it is known as proportion from the sample. So students, proportion को टेस्ट करने के लिए भी हम जो टेस्ट यूज करते हैं, अगर हम सिंगल पॉपुलेशन की बात करें तो हम उसको टेस्ट करेंगे जी टेस्ट से, और अगर हम दो पॉपुलेशंस की बात कर रहे हैं तो हम दो पॉपुलेशन ड्रॉ करेंगे एंड वी वुड बी मेकिंग द कंपैरिजन बिटवीन द टू. सो दैट मे आल्सो बी अचीव्ड यूजिंग z-test. Sometimes the researchers may be interested in finding out the relationship between the two variables rather than making a comparison. So अगर वो relationship test करने जा रहे हैं तो statistics में हमारे पास एक टेक्निक है जिसको हम कहते हैं correlation. अब ये मैंने पूरी list students what I have discussed with you, the basic purpose was that for all these type of tests, whether it is a t-test for independent sample, paired sample, or for the proportion, there are certain assumptions which need to be fulfilled so that we can apply these tests onto the data sets. So the appropriateness or the use of these parametric tests, that will be determined using the assumptions which are underlined for those kind of tests. So students, जब आप कोई भी टेस्ट अप्लाई करेंगे तो आपको सबसे पहले जो चीज टेस्ट करनी होगी, that will be the assumptions about those tests. What if those assumptions are not met? So उसके लिए आप क्या करेंगे कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हम बात करें एनालिसिस ऑफ वेरिएंस की, एनालिसिस ऑफ वेरिएंस इज अ स्टैटिस्टिकल टेक्निक which is used to make a comparison between several means. अगर आप ये टेस्ट करना चाहते हैं कि different populations में means are they equal or they are not, so उसके लिए basic assumption ये है कि आपका data should follow the normal distribution and variances must be equal. So what if one of the assumptions is not met or it is not satisfied with your data? So there must be some way out. So students, that way out is that you cannot apply the parametric test. So parametric test अगर आप apply नहीं कर पाएंगे, so what is the alternative approach? So the alternative approach is that you will be looking for the non-parametric statistical techniques. Non-parametric statistical techniques में students, they would have less or almost no assumptions. So using those tests, you can test certain assumptions about the population.